Welcome to the Hour of Empowerment. To remind you, today we are in Season 1. The theme is Personal Development. We are in Topic 2, Visionary Lifestyle, Episode 3. We're going to cover today the process it takes to form vision, the steps we need to take, and 2 case studies of successful visionaries. Before we proceed, I would like to briefly summarize what we discussed last week. We discussed the relationship between self-awareness and imagination. If our self-awareness is our feet, our imagination is our wings. So we need both our feet and our wings. We also took reality check and self-measured ourselves to see where we are on the spectrum of visioning, whether we are in the lower end of the spectrum or in the middle or at the higher end of the spectrum. We also discussed about the tools we can use. What are the tools we can use to envision? Vision board, visual explorer, mind map, and mindjet. I also showed you how you need to articulate your vision statement. Suggestions were, first, try to make it one statement. And that statement should have 4 important elements. What are these elements? The direction you are taking, the clarity of your journey, and the third one, the image of your future, and the fourth, the change you would like to bring and the impact you want to bring in this world. We also discussed about the difference between mission statement, motto, and vision statement. And I showed you that vision statement is kind of task. So you should start by saying to provide this or to accomplish this and that. But when it comes to vision, it should be like we see this and that, to become this and that, to be this and that. So you need to differentiate the difference between mission statement, motto, and vision statement. Today we're going to cover the following important discussion points: formation of vision, steps we need to take, case studies of 2 successful visionaries. Now, let's first talk about vision formation. I would like to give you a metaphor. The metaphor is about how a pregnant woman passes through before she gives birth. And there are 6 phases. The first phase is dated, and the second is mated, and the third is impregnated, and the fourth is nurtured, and the fifth is birthed, and the 6th is raised. Let's talk about dated. As you know, a lady doesn't just date everybody. She needs to select the one that she likes. And she may even date more than one guy to find the right one. Similarly, we need to find and date the right cause for our purpose, for our organization. And for some of us, it may take us years, if not decades, before we find our right passion. The next phase is mated. Once you find out, once you date your cause, the next step is mate. A girl dates first, and then she meets the one that she connects with, the one that's right for her. Similarly, we may have a lot of causes we are interested, but we are talking about the one we are ready to die for. So we need to connect with the cause that we are connected. This is the step where vision conception is triggered. As there is no pregnancy before mating, it's very important for you to connect with your purpose, your vision, your passion. Now the next phase is impregnated. Once you connect with your cause, what's going to happen? You embrace it and embed it within your inner beings, within your soul and within your spirit. And this is a time where you become pregnant with your vision. But at this phase, one important thing should happen. There are a lot of factors should be in place, but one important thing should happen. For example, in pregnancy, there should be ovulation period. What happens during ovulation? The mature egg is released from ovary and it arrives at the fallopian tube. Likewise, your vision is conceived at the right time. The next phase is nurture. For a baby in a womb, it has to be fed with the right balanced nutrients. Likewise, you need to nurture yourself with the right stuff to grow yourself and to shoulder the responsibilities that come with visioning. Otherwise, if you birth your vision without nurturing it, what happens? It doesn't have any strength and capacity to withstand challenge, and it may not get fulfilled. Next phase is birth. At this phase, what happens is your vision is nurtured. It is grown. So it explodes and it gets out. You can't contain it. It is delivery time. This is the step and the phase where you start to implement your vision. You may start it at small scale, but this is the phase where you need to take actions. As it is painful for a pregnant woman to give birth, you may experience some pain when you actualize and pursue your vision. The last phase is raised. As you know, it's very difficult to raise your offspring. The other steps like feeding, pregnancy, and so on, may be challenging, but it's more challenging to raise your offspring, your children, because it needs a lot of care and protection. Likewise, conceiving a very great vision and telling the world that you have a glorious vision is not enough. You need to care and protect your vision. Of course, this is the phase where you may raise your successors, because many of our visions may not be finished in one generation. It may be across or transgenerational. So you need to raise your successors. But we should not wait until circumstances dictate when and how to envision. We need to initiate. We should not be dependent on the slow motion. We need to be proactive. That means we should take initiative and lead the process of visioning. And we should become very skillful in visioning, and we should fully understand the full process of visioning, which means the visualization and the actualization phases. I would like to give you 8 steps that are very important to envision, pursue, and fulfill your vision. I call them the 4 C's and the 4 F's. The 4 C's are within the visualization phase, and the 4 F's are in the actualization phase. Now let's talk about the 4 C's within the visualization phase. Conceptualize, conceive, commit, and communicate. The 4 F's are forward, feed, fortify, and fulfill. Now let's talk about the first step, which is conceptualize. This is the step where you need to answer the question, why? Why do you need a vision? You need to address the motive and the drive behind conceiving your vision. And this is the phase where you need to know the problems, the gaps, and the needs that prompted you, that compelled you to have a vision. And at this step, what you're doing is you are engaging your conscious mind and your intellect. You may use at this step brainstorming tools and software. The next step is conceive. Now this is the step where you conceive your vision within your inner beings. Since you found your cause, which is precious for you, you determined to die for it. So you put it in the place where you consider precious and sacred. You may use Vision Board, Visual Explorer, and other software. Now, these tools and software, they help you to see the abstract of the journey in picture form. If you pass this step, what's going to happen? The probability of your vision to become actualized is more than 50%. The next step is commit. Unless you commit what it takes to pursue your vision, it may abort at any time. So it's very important to commit everything it takes, and from your side, you need to make some tough decisions and difficult choices, and you need to make some changes too to accommodate your vision. You need to dedicate your time and scarce resources. The next step is communicate. This step is the one which you need to share the good news. Now, because it is a good news, you need to share it to the world, starting from the people around you. And this is a test phase, because if you believe in your vision, what do? You share it. You share it to other people. But you have to be very careful not to share it with the wrong people, people who may talk you out of your vision. You may use multiple forms of communication to communicate your vision. You could use meeting, one-on-ones, your website, your intranets, and so on and so forth. The next step, the first step in the actualization phase, is forward. You need to implement your vision. You need to take your vision where it belongs. Action is very important. It is a key right now. The previous 4 steps, they were in the visualization phase. Now, this is the action time. You may start with a small scale project somewhere, but that action should invoke significant other events. And this event lead you and your vision to go to the next height. The next step is feed. You need to feed yourself and grow, because you need to shoulder the responsibilities that come with vision. When you feed your vision, when it grows, what happens? It outgrows its circumstances and expands outwardly. And this is a step where your vision becomes more clearer, bigger, and more convincing, not only to you, but other people too. To grow yourself, you may need to read biographies, books, you may need to take coaching, trainings, and so on and so forth. So it's very important you to feed yourself so that you may advance your vision. The next step is fortify. Now this is the time where you need to understand that the more you advance your vision, what happens? The more it attracts attention. That means there may be some obstacles and challenges. So you need to fortify and protect your vision. First, from yourself, the worst enemy of your vision. Because there may be some negative thoughts, or bad attitudes, or behaviors. These may counterattack and sabotage your vision. So you need to first fortify your vision from yourself. In the organizational setting, what happens is, if there are some misalignments, they may sabotage your vision. So you need to align internally. And also, you need to avoid erroneous associations, people who may suffocate your vision. It's also very important to understand that a pregnant woman, once she gives birth, she's committed for her baby at its infant stage, by giving love and by reserving herself, by becoming zealous and dedicated for her baby. Likewise, you need to show similar kind of dedication towards protecting your vision. The last step in the process of visioning is fulfill. You need to be patient, and you need to avoid entering into complacency and settling for less. You should put in place systems and some mechanisms that may help you to fulfill and accomplish and actualize your vision. You should not give up so easily and lower your expectation. And this is the step where you need to raise your successors. This is now time to share with you two great visionaries. Martin Luther King Jr., civil rights leader, and Helen Keller, author and political activist. Let's talk about Martin Luther King Jr. He was African-American civil rights movement leader. He believed and promoted non-violence using civil disobedience. And he is known worldwide with his "I Have a Dream" speech. Remember it. He's one of the most respected orators in the world. His vision guided his actions. He was awarded a lot of prizes, including the Nobel Prize, because he combated racial inequality. He was also awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom and also the Congressional Gold Medal. And there are streets named after his name. There is a holiday in the month of January as a national holiday of Martin Luther King. There is also a memorial statue in the National Mall after Martin Luther King Jr. He showed his belief. As I said, he was a visionary leader. Let me share you one story. In the book called "What Manner of Man?" This is a book, a biography of Martin Luther King. And in that book, there was a story. And the story was about his house was bombed while his wife and a 9-month daughter was inside. He was not mad because he believed in nonviolence. He composed himself and he calmed down his supporters who wanted vengeance. And he said a very powerful statement in that book. "Blood may cover our streets before we realize our liberty, but that blood must not be the white man. It ought to be ours." It's a very powerful statement. And Martin Luther King, he had a vision within him. Even if the surrounding around him was dark, he had a vision. And here is one of his quotes. "Everything that we see is a shadow cast by that which we don't see." It's so true. And we need to be visionaries so that the circumstances around us should not really deter us from moving forward and becoming positive. The question to you is, what is the vision within you, which we don't see, but you clearly see? What is your vision inside of you? If you have a clear vision, if you have a positive, beautiful vision inside of you, it changes your outside. It changes the world around you. What we learn also from Martin Luther King is there were chaoses, but in his life, in his organization, he saw optimism. The same way around your life, in your organization, in your country, where you are right now, things may be very dark, but you need to overcome them by having vision. Here is what Martin Luther King said. "Only in the darkness can you see the stars." You have stars out there, but don't get discouraged by the darkness. It rather brings out your greatness, your stars. He also said that seeing is not always believing. So you don't need to see something outside to believe in your vision. You can first believe in your vision and work out, pursue it. So the question to us also that, can we see our end? Can we see the light at the end of the tunnel? Martin Luther King saw that. He said, "Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last." Can you see your end, where you become free of your challenges, your obstacles? He also said that, "I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. Here is another powerful visionary statement. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. So, can you see the future? Can you see through your vision the change you can accomplish? Even if he could not be able to see the fruits of his vision, what happened? Others enjoyed from his vision. What are the lessons we learn from Martin Luther King? In the midst of chaos, what did he see? He saw a bright future. He was skillful to cast his vision in the mind of Americans from all races. And he served by his vision the concerns of others. He lived for others. That's why he said, I submit to you that if a man hasn't discovered something that he will die for, he is not fit to live. We also learn from his life that he was serving others. The question to you and me is that, are we living for others? The most important lesson we learn from Martin Luther King is that he had a vision that outlived him. Can you have a vision that, even if you're not around, even if you are not benefiting from your vision, but others will benefit? Do you have that kind of vision? Let's talk about Helen Keller. She was a visionary person. Blindness nor deaf didn't stop her. It was reported that she was the first deaf blind to earn Bachelor of Arts degree. She was a great speaker, writer, and political activist. And she was known worldwide as a symbol of persistence and vision. Helen Keller received a lot of respect and honor. Her birthday is commemorated in the state of Philadelphia. And she got a lot of many awards, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom. President Jimmy Carter also announced the proclamation of the 100th year anniversary of Helen Keller. She was inducted into many Hall of Fames. Streets were named after her name. She was a sought-after speaker who appeared into many international forums because she was a visionary. She knew every president in America, and she had a lot of celebrity friends because she was visionary. Helen Keller also was one of the top most admired persons in this world. And she won these all recognitions and awards. Why? Because she inspired millions of people worldwide. Her vision gave her endurance to overcome the challenge, the disability she was facing, and to see opportunities beyond the challenge she was facing. Let me give you some quotes from Helen Keller that show you how much she was persistent and determined because she was a visionary. She said that when one door of happiness closes, another opens. But often we look so long at the closed door that we don't see the one which has been opened for us. Another quotation from Helen Keller is, "Be of good cheer. Don't think of today's failures, but of the success that may come tomorrow. You have set yourselves a difficult task, but you will succeed if you persevere, and you will find a joy in overcoming obstacles. Remember, no effort that will make to attain something beautiful is ever lost. We could never learn to be brave and patient if there were only joy in the world." Another lesson we learned from Helen Keller was that she was blind. She couldn't see, but she had vision within herself. She even felt terrible for people who have sight but no vision. Here are some of her quotations about her feelings. "The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. She also said that the most pathetic person in the world is someone who has sight but no vision. She also said the best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Now, you use your heart to feel your vision. Vision helps you to see things you can't really do it by your naked eye. What are the lessons we learned from Helen Keller? We learned that blindness and deafness couldn't stop her. So nothing could be able to stop you too. You should also know that her life was dominated by vision, and your life should be dominated by vision, not by sight. Her vision also enabled her to be resilient. Because she was visionary, she could be able to withstand challenge, to live for others, and overcome and shine. You could be able also to shine if you have a vision. In conclusion, I would like to let you know that it's very important for us to understand the formation of vision. What are the 6 phases of vision formation? Dated, mated, impregnated, nurtured, birthed, and raised. What are the 8 steps of visioning? The 4 C's: conceptualize, conceive, commit, and communicate. What about the 4 F's? Forward, feed, fortify, and fulfill. We also discussed the 2 great visionaries, Martin Luther King Jr. and Helen Keller. And these individuals were successful because they were visionaries. They could be able to serve others because they were visionaries. You too can be visionary and serve the world. You should know that the world is influenced and impacted and dominated by visionaries. You are wired to envision, and you can be able to see a big and huge vision that can serve the world around you. Where you are, even if it is dark, even if there are a lot of challenges, don't give up. See the light at the end of the tunnel. Be visionary and live for your vision. Pursue it and fulfill it. Next week, we're going to have an interview. Don't miss it. Bring your friends and colleagues. Until we see next week, be visionary, pursue your vision. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you.